Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at the Dixie then, before we look at Bitcoin obviously. So the Dixie, we recognised prior to all of this is that there was an uptrend. Second to that, we found that the uptrend strengthened due to the Ichimoku conversion baseline cross, so a perfect signal for a long position. And then we recognised last week that had now come to an end, so that particular uptrend signal had come to an end. So if you were long, you would be exiting that position. Doesn't mean that it can't continue to go up. It just means that was a nice slice of price action that would have been well, like I say, you got to take profits somewhere, and the Itchy Cloud tells you when to get in, when to get out. So now what we're seeing is a probable consolidation, and we are currently bouncing on that green 50 exponential and the top of this green cloud on the daily. So still technically bullish, really. As far as the consolidation is concerned, that we're finding support around here. We are below the center of the Bollinger Band on the daily, and if we take this down to the 4-hourly, we see that we're below the 200 exponential, which isn't a big. It's not a big deal for the Dixie. I mean, when it comes to exponentials on the Dixie, I mean, they're all part of my chart anyway, but it's not particularly fond of respecting them. And you can see that it's all the way up. So uptrend down, uptrend below, uptrend sort of to it, and a few ticks below it as well. So as far as this is concerned, I'm hopeful in that we could consolidate a little further, which would allow for Bitcoin and crypto to have potentially less downside. I won't say upside, I'll say less downside, because well, the pressure is on with a high dollar, isn't it? We speak about that frequently. So let's turn our attention over to Bitcoin. In fact, we'll look at it on the on HyperTrader here. So Bitcoin on the 4-hourly, trying to hold the center of this Bollinger Band at this current level, exact level, 41,000. We'll call it 41,800 thereabouts. Okay, if we can hold there, then and that would be okay. If we don't hold there, we're likely to come back down to the bottom of the range. Talking about 41,000 again. I would be surprised to see us make a lower low today. Just because of the state of this Bollinger Band is not quite ready to be stretched to that extent. Bollinger Bands are pinching though on this 4-hourly, and if we spend the day going sideways, volatility will be getting ready to pop one way or another. Now, yesterday we spoke about the two, I suppose, ranges that we're in. First of all, the accumulation range, which is between 40,000 more or less, and well, it's actually all the way up here, 49,500. This is your accumulation range, which we established ages ago, and you can see so far that is the range that's being played. So we said that prior to this dump, we said it after this dump, and we're continuing to say it now. So we've not changed our opinion on it since all of this price action. Well, before it even began, this is still the same opinion, and even though we're at the bottom of the range and everybody's like hyperventilating, I saw someone running around outside my house screaming, howling like a wolf actually, because Bitcoin was so low. I told him that this range was all anticipated prior to it happening, and he put his clothes back on and went back in the house. So I mean, it's not a big deal. So this is the accumulation range as I see it, and as I have seen it before it happened. Right? Hopefully. That is what actually is going on. Secondly, we've got this descending channel, which again, we came down to test the bottom of it, and we had a decent reaction. Also, the bottom of the accumulation range, meaning that this area down here, well, definitely at this level here, was a very strong support, and we had a decent reaction from it. Came down to test the support, and now we're sort of meandering with the idea that we could potentially touch the top side of the range, which is going to be around 43,000 to 43,500 if we were to do it sooner rather than later. Now this is descending, and so what you see here, if you think about it, we've got one of our favourite triangles going on. Well, not specifically me. Triangles are just, I don't know. Triangles are just a pattern, really. But what it marks is a consolidation and a support, really. So, and we could argue that this is how we play this until we either break out or break down. Like Carl from the Moon will say, we could do one or the other. I'll come back the next day and told you that I called it. But this is the deal. And actually, a descending triangle like this is more likely to break down than up. If it wasn't for the fact that the $40,000-ish area is such a strong level of support dating back for quite a long period of time. I don't know why I'm on the 4-hourly if I'm going back a 12-month period. But if it wasn't such a strong support dating back so long, parabolic top, resistance from the dump, resistance breaking out of the dump, bullish retest of the support, and then to the moon. If it wasn't for the fact that this area is such a strong level of support dating back a 12-month period with some really significant times that it was tagged, for the better or for the worse, then yeah, the descending triangle that we've just looked at here would probably break to the down. So for the moment, I reckon today might be a bit of a boring sideways day, to be honest with you. Now it is I suppose interesting to go back to the daily. We've got ourselves a death cross, right? And you know me, I'm pretty bullish still. In fact, more bullish now than I have been in probably a month, because prior to this we said, oh, we're downtrending. I said we were probably going to get something like this because of all the outside forces. I said we're going to accumulate here. Now we're at the bottom of the range, so there is reason to be more bullish here, because this is where I've been actually buying some more Bitcoin. I actually bought some VRA, picked up some other things. I don't really want to go into all the things I picked up because I don't want people to go off and take risks that they don't necessarily need to, you know, because I could be wrong, obviously. But yeah, I've been buying things down here over the last couple of days, and I will intend on buying some more things, yeah, throughout this week, probably, because, like I say, I'm more bullish here than I've been for a while, because I think what the bottom is, if not already in, it's very close to being in. So when you see all these altcoins, especially these small cap wrecked coins on Kucoin, they don't really actually show signs of strength at all. They just have low prices. If I've put my faith in the market and use Bitcoin as my major indicator for that market, and I think that Bitcoin's low is likely in, then through default, some of these alts could actually be at their bottom. So it's worth, for me anyway, I feel like it's worth trying to catch knives on some of these coins, which look awful. They look terrible. Absolutely no redeeming factors, which is why I don't really want to bring them onto the chart, because there's no reason for me to talk about them on this channel, because their charts don't have any redeeming factors. I'm actually just buying some of them based upon my expectation that Bitcoin's low is almost in, if not already in. So, that said, I'll keep those a secret, because I don't want you to get hurt, guys. But yeah, VRA was a different story. I mean, that was an obvious area based on the chart, so that's different. Right, but yeah, the death cross coming. So the last time, let's just say that, let's have a look at the last time we got a death cross. A death cross is usually a bearish indication, and I would say that it has more relevance on a 4-hourly. While we're still in an uptrend like this, which this is still technically is kind of an uptrend, really. A death cross on a 4-hourly has more relevance because it catches the move early, you know. So we would have seen a death cross probably around this area and then had this kind of price action thereafter. Same over here. I remember we had a death cross around here and we got all this. But then when we got a daily death cross, it was here, and you could argue, well, you don't need to argue. It's proof. We can see it with our own actual eyes that when we got this death cross, the low had been printed. So the death cross was confirmed on this day, which was the day after the low was put in. We did come down to revisit that on a double bottom, but the low had already been printed on that death cross. So are we looking for the same kind of event taking place here? Has the low already been printed and the death cross is a lagging indicator? I think so. I think so. But death cross isn't a signal. A death cross is usually a sign of a strengthening of trend, and in this case, strengthening to the down. But because it's such a lagging indicator, especially after such an aggressive move up, it's got a long way to go before it makes a cross. So it's finally made its cross. If this is a repeat of last time, then the low has already been put in. We might not rally immediately, but the low has been put in, and this would be pretty much the same as what we expected down here. We were talking about this range being the accumulation range, and it was, wasn't it? Accumulated throughout this range, death cross, continued to accumulate, came up to the top, and then finally broke out. I said this is going to be the accumulation range. My expectation is that we'll stay in here for a little while. So we came up to the top, now to the bottom. We've got a death cross. Maybe we stay in here until February and play this range out for a little longer. Death cross being the lagging indicator that it is probably a red herring. Do you know what I mean? It makes it look as though we've gone super bearish, but I think we could probably I think we're looking at the same kind of reaction now that we'll have around here. So it will look worse than it is. Maybe we'll spend a bit more time in the bottom portion of this using that 46,500, which used to be our false sense of security of support here as resistance, making it an accumulation with a lower range until we break out to the top, and then suddenly that, I think, is the more likely scenario. Okay, I think that is the most likely scenario, that we spend a bit of time around here, we break out, come up to there, We play around here, we make it look worse than it really is, and then break out and probably do a loop the loop, maybe even go left. Not really sure. But yeah, that's how I think it's going to play. That's the most likely scenario. Given what I expected from the start, what I've said throughout, and what I see going forward, I think that's probably the most likely scenario. So, as of today, probably a bit of nondescript price action, and maybe at best we come up to the top side of this range, about 43,000, maybe 44,000 at best. And then rejection from there as we continue with this descending channel, see if the support holds, and then take it from there. Either way, I am not massively bearish. I am picking bits of altcoins up. I bought Bitcoin a few days ago, my order was tagged, so I am more bullish now than I have been for a long time. I know I repeat myself all the time, but that is how I see it playing out. It's the same as I've seen it play out prior to this big dump. I think this is how it's going to work, right? This is how it's going to work. So be prepared for a little wick at least, into the upper 30,000 zones. That's no big deal. Like I say, this support trend line is a bit of a, it's not exact. It's a big fat line, so we could go as low as, well, as far as using this as a support, candle body closes above 39,000 is still okay. And if we go to the Bitcoin on the monthly, we'll just show you this. This is the last line in the sand, just so you know. Last line in the sand, the 20 monthly and the 21 exponential on the monthly, 37,200 to as low as potentially 30, we'll call it 35,000, 36,000 thereabouts. That is the last line in the sand. If that breaks, then yeah, all the people calling bear market are potentially correct in that sense. They might be onto something at that point. But I can't entertain bear market until bear market precursors have been met, and they've not been met. Right, it's a long video, guys. I appreciate that. Thanks for sticking with me. Join the Telegram, maybe the Patreon, and I'll see you all later. Take it easy.